Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 148 of the MTB podcast, presented and hosted by Worldwide Cyclery. I'm Jared.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Liam.
In this episode, we discuss my 24 hours at the Old Fort Endurance Festival, some of our favorite things this year, and some super listener questions ranging from the best Bond villain to the best way to take care of your chain and everything in between.
Whoa.
Everything.
Nice work on that.
Thanks,
Jared.
And
super
listener questions.
Some super listener questions.
Yeah, they better be super.
Not super good. They're just super listener questions.
Super. You
And
can
since
fill in the rest.
Zach is on holiday vacation, we've replaced his words of wisdom with Cody's parenting advice. None of us are parents, so Cody's offering us some parenting advice, since probably a lot of you listening are. What is it, Jared?
Cody says, don't start Elf on the shelf, whatever you do.
And there was a big debate that we can't explain that any further because we don't want to ruin anything for anyone. And that's that.
Just don't.
On to Daniel's fun fact.
On to Daniel's fun fact. Christmas trees usually grow for nearly 15 years before they can be sold. Fun fact, about the fun fact, I worked at a Christmas tree lot one year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
What job has Jared not have?
That's a good question.
You're a real estate agent, you're a car detailer.
Well, you know, people, if they're looking for like a certain type of tree, like, you know, you got your Douglas firs. I forgot what the other one's called. But
Start employee.
it depends on like how much they want to spend. Right. And so like for me as like a guy working on the lot, I know all the trees on the lot. Like if you want a big one, if you want a certain size, if you want a certain type, and, you know, you can go help people. And you're like, oh, I got you.
Sounds like a big Christmas tree lot.
Yeah. Well, it was
so
average.
As a Christmas tree lot owner, wouldn't it just be easier to go, here's all the Douglas firs, 3 foot to 8 foot, put them in order?
Oh, yeah, we do that.
And then on the other
They're
side,
organized.
same
you
thing.
need to direct
3
people
foot,
to the right ones.
another one.
Yeah.
And there's signs, and then you just cut half your employees.
But
Are you Elon Musk? Are you part of the Department of Government Efficiency? That was incredible.
I think there's only 2 guys that worked on the lot anyways. And so typically, you know, you do a fresh cut on the bottom. You got to give the fresh cut.
Probably smells
And
good
then,
all day there. Huh?
Oh, yeah. And then maybe a little bit trimming if people want to trim, and then you tie it on top of their car for them. You know?
You want to know a fun fact?
You don't have a Christmas tree.
I've never had a real Christmas tree in my life, growing up or now.
Wow.
You know,
We should get you one.
It's a pretty conflicting
I got one this
thing,
year.
you know?
There's not a single Christmas decoration in my apartment.
Well, you could just have the tree without it.
Goes to show you don't have a lady living with you.
Yeah,
Nope.
Taylor bought
And-
one for us.
And
at Trader
my
Joe's.
roommate, who is a female, doesn't care at all.
Well, she's only there half the time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, not polarizing, but I'm torn between the whole Christmas tree thing, right? Because like it's fun, it smells good, and it's nice. It's a cool experience, but at the same time, it's like that's the industry I have like mixed feelings about, right? Like
agreed.
cutting a bunch of trees down, trucking them down here for people to put them in their house for a couple weeks and throw them away, or
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. You
yeah,
know what
it
I
is.
like is those scented pine cones.
yeah,
Those just
love a
fall on
good
the ground
scented pine
anyway,
cone. Yeah,
so no harm, no foul there.
yeah,
And those smell great.
yeah.
I bought some recently
do.
at Home Depot. Put them in the. Was
What
that
are you
Home
doing at
Depot?
Home Depot, dude?
I don't remember where I
Trader
bought
Joe's,
Just
maybe.
going to Home Depot?
Where
Trader
did I
Joe's
buy
and
them?
Albertsons?
Oh, I bought them at Walgreens.
Oh.
Okay, even weirder.
Why
what
were
are
you doing
there?
there?
Picking up your
I was
medication.
at Walgreens to get something. I don't know. Honestly, I don't even remember what I got. Taylor, I had to buy something, and it was on the way home, and we stopped there, and I was like, "Oh, I like those pine cones." And now my place smells great.
That's awesome.
I like those.
One last fact about the Christmas trees. Cool
All right,
thing
one
that we
last
did
fact.
with the Christmas trees that didn't get sold is they were all donated to a big cat, not like a cat with like I'm talking about like lynx and like cougars. They love to play with big Christmas trees and like claw them and bite them and stuff.
I like taking them in the desert and lighting them on fire.
That's a cool thing for
Yeah.
people to do, you know? But yeah, I guess big
Good.
cats love to play
This
with
is some
them.
serious mountain bike knowledge on this podcast so
I guess
far.
we should start with that, huh?
Mhm.
We're 5 minutes in, haven't even said mountain bike once.
It's festive, you know?
It's festive.
This is the holiday season, baby.
It's festive.
This is the holiday podcast. All right. Fantastic tone. Give him the testimony.
Fantastic testimonial.
Give it to him.
Thank you all, and especially Jeff, for the Adventure Race updates and stories. I got into mountain biking through Adventure Racing. I raced AR competitively for over a decade, and it makes me very happy to know that people are still out there destroying themselves and hallucinating for days at a time. That is definitely true in that sport. I had to give it up when I had kids. The time commitments aren't really compatible with having a family, but I miss it and love hearing about it. And now that mountain biking is my main sport, I love that I can hear about both along with really great info and tips in one podcast. Thanks again, and can we get an update on Bean the cat, please? My cats, Toothless and Fudgy Potato, are asking.
I'm just going to say, why do cats have the most out there names?
Fudgy Potato.
Fudgy Potato is
Toothless and Fudgy Potato. And I want to know the nicknames for each of those cats, because I guarantee you there's like 4 that have evolved. They're so far down the road.
That's how every pet works.
Dude, people and their pets, man. You're just not a pet guy if you had a bunch of pets.
I like
and
dogs.
Stuff.
I love dogs. I think dogs are better than humans.
Yeah, but if you had dogs, they get funny nicknames.
Yeah.
Like
I just can't have one now with my lifestyle, but
yeah.
Well, Bean is doing great.
What's the update on Bean?
Bean's doing fantastic. Speaking of the Christmas tree, she loves the tree.
I was gonna say, when talking about the Christmas tree talk, does Bean like jump all over the tree and tear down ornaments and stuff?
So thankfully she doesn't. But one year she actually did climb the tree to the top almost and jumped out.
Oh, jumped.
She jumped out, but she honestly nowadays she just likes to hang at it and smell the leaves and
pines,
the pine needles. You're right. They're not leaves. I said leaves. That was so wrong of me. I'm embarrassed. And she likes to drink.
She likes to Christmas tree.
What a loser, dude! She likes to drink the Christmas tree water at the bottom.
Interesting.
Yeah,
probably not the healthiest.
She loves standing water. Like we put out a glass for her on the table, and she drinks out of it.
I just thought of the funniest little short form Instagram video, and it's just someone at a Christmas tree lot, and they walk up, and you're there, and you're a Santa hat, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to buy a Christmas tree," and you're like, "What kind of leaves do you want on it, man?"
Oh my god. I make one mistake, I will never hear the end of it.
Where you didn't make a mistake is the Fox 36 video that you just produced and released.
Well, I did make a couple mistakes.
I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Thought you were well spoken, and that was one of the most in-depth videos on a fork damper we've ever made. Probably might top it.
Thank you.
I'd have to go back in the archives to see if we've done
I do appreciate
more in
that.
depth. It was about 13 minutes long, all about the Fox 36 Grip X damper.
But it was like a package, right?
Yeah,
package
deal, a lot.
Because we didn't really do a full-on video on that fork when it came out, maybe? I don't know. Maybe not.
3 years ago when the curved arch came out, maybe?
I think we just did an overview, right? But
yeah,
never a full-on review. And it was a relatively unique product, right? It's
it is.
For the Fox 36, I guess, relatively unique and new, but I love it. It's really good. It was kind of hard for me to do because it works so good. We're how do I describe how well it works?
Yeah.
But
I think you covered a lot of stuff that people who are just interested and potentially going to spend, well over $1,000 on that fork want to hear about, which is every little tiny detail. And even you broke down the whole service and reliability and all that sort of stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Thanks.
So
I tried to offer
well done, mate.
Offer some value to people, that are interested in the product,
I mean, I buy things on the interwebs, and I love when there is in-depth, detailed videos about the product so I can learn all about it before I buy it. Hence why we do a lot of YouTube videos and things like that ourselves, but I like that, so I'm sure people appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. Liam, I'm sure you've already watched it, learned a bunch of new things about Fox that you didn't know about, so you don't even have to say anything. I appreciate that already.
Yeah, I'm a part of the QC process. So I do watch it.
The round of QC.
Liam, I know.
I watch it with a detailed microscope comb.
Yes, you go through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Yes, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of Spaceballs. You seen that movie? When they're going through the desert with the comb? And they're like, we need to go through the desert with the fine-tooth comb. And there's a bunch of guys with the huge comb.
Oh, no.
I need to watch
I can't remember that
Oh,
scene.
Man, that's a classic one. Well, tell us about the race. I mean, I know that you told us about it, but tell the collective podcast.
Yeah, so we mentioned it quite a few times on the podcast and how this all transpired, and pretty much everyone knows that there was a epic hurricane out east, Hurricane Helene, and one of the awesome sort of outdoor mountain bike focused towns out there, Old Fort, North Carolina, got damaged really bad, and a couple of the race organizations, because it was Tanawa Adventures, I think is how you say it, and then Pisgah Productions. So Tanawa does more trail running events, Pisgah Production does more mountain biking events. They collaborated to put together a 24-hour fundraiser race where there was running and mountain biking, and you could do 6, 12, or 24 hours. And what was really funny is I was apparently the only person who emailed the race directors and said, can I do 12 of each? Because no one else did that. And it was hilarious being on course because everybody out there running, I was so out of my league. It was just all ultra runners. No joke. Every person I talked to was like, oh yeah, I did this 100. I did Leadville. I'm like, this is the longest I've ever run in my life today, right now.
Well, at one time, right? Because you've probably done like collectively during an adventure race, right? Or maybe.
Yeah, but not like one straight 45-mile run. I'd never done that before, so that was technically my quote unquote longest run.
And
pretty savage.
And you're pretty much running this time. Where adventure race, you're a little bit more.
Yeah, you're just on and off. Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool, and all the runners were like, "You're gonna ride bikes today? That's crazy," And then everyone on the mountain bike side's like, "You ran today? Running sucks, man. Why would you do that?" So it was a pretty interesting split. There was how many people were out there? 120
to start.
Or was it more than that?
To start, I'd say close to 100 on each.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It looks like
participants.
That. I don't know the number, but
so every participant essentially got their own donation page on Run Sign Up, and your donation page, that the funds that people donate there go directly to the Old Fort Strong Fund, which they did a really good job of explaining and talking about how it's going to be distributed and how it's going to help the community, and really impressive just effort between all of these people that live out there that wanted to help the town and raise money and do it in a really fun, unique way. And so I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast donated on my page. Thank you very much. I was the third highest donator. And
you did hold that third spot, huh?
I was in a fierce competition with someone who shall remain nameless. I don't even know this lady, but she was going back and forth with me donating more, and I kept going, I gotta find more rich friends to text right now and ask for donations. But I was the third highest donator. I raised just over $10,000, and that's
awesome.
That was cool. I know. I was super proud of that. And obviously the good customer of ours, Craig, him and Nikas, which we met when we went out there, stayed in their Airbnbs. That's how we heard about this whole thing. Craig bought some Bird Hawk 27 wheels to raffle off at the event, and used the $1,000 shipping, and the $1,000 I put right back into my donation page, and they hosted us at their awesome Airbnbs. They have 3 of them, right?
Yep.
They call it Hey Old Friend.
That's so cool.
It's like super creative and artsy, and Nikas is a really good artist, and man, they've made these awesome Airbnbs in Old Fort. So if you ever want an epic mountain bike vacation, can't recommend them enough. They were super nice to us and hosted us, and we stayed at their place, and pumped on that.
Just more on that is, Old Fort, North Carolina, is on the edge of the Pisgah National Forest, where Pisgah riding is awesome. And you can ride Kitsuma Trail from the Airbnb.
That's so
you can ride a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but like Kitsuma Trail is pretty well known in Pisgah as a trail. Cane Creek has a shock named after it, so it's pretty good. You can ride that from the door. There's a sick basic bike path to almost the top of it whole way. Yeah. And then you can rip down Kitsuma right back into town.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have that, I was looking up the name, mountaintop shuttles. That can also just drive you to the top, which is what we did. We took this awesome local shuttle service right to the top, and then just basically did the downhill.
That's so epic.
I pedaled it the day after.
You did it after the race, right?
Yeah, after the 24-hour race, I pedaled it.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stuff I wish we had out here so bad. Give me a shuttle.
What's crazy? So, shout out to G5 Trail Collective, which I think they're sort of powered by Camp Greer, which was where this whole event was hosted, and they're the ones building a lot of the trail out there. It is amazing how well organized. I don't know. I can't think of a single other state that's as well organized and productive at trail building than North Carolina. It's incredible. Every time I've ever been out there, they're building new trails. It's like it's just all done so well. I don't know how it's so possible. It's very impressive.
The whole community is behind it.
Yeah, it's like everyone in the state just cares and is okay with it.
It seems like
so cool.
Smaller zone, but like Squamish and maybe BC as a
that's
like
true.
That, but
some spots in Canada are impressive with that too.
The most well-known riding spots in the world. Of course, it's going to be awesome, right?
Yeah.
But North Carolina is on it with that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Still haven't been riding out there. Got to go.
You got to go. It's actually easier to get there now than it used to be because now there's a Burbank to Dallas, Dallas to Asheville.
Oh,
that used to not exist when I went out there before. I used to always have to go LA to Charlotte and then Charlotte to Asheville, which is way longer in LA. But now it's Burbank, Dallas, Asheville. It's like,
sweet.
It's actually pretty easy to get there.
Wow.
So and Old Fort is 45 minutes from the Asheville airport?
Yeah.
It's like right
that's not
outside
bad.
Asheville.
Yeah, 45 an hour.
Yeah.
Sick.
It was awesome. That was such a fun event. And what was my original goal was 40 on foot and then 60 on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
I set that goal before I knew about the train or elevation. And then once they released the GPX files of the courses, I thought, oh, that's going to be really hard. So I kind of knew that going into it and figured out what paces I would need to keep to pull that off. And I ended up feeling really good on the run. So I went for 45 on the run. I should have stopped because every mile past that many miles, you get pretty tired. So I did 45 on the run, transitioned to bike, and then did 55 on the bike. So I got just over 100 miles exactly in 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 57 seconds when I stopped the Garmin.
It's amazing.
And I was like, well, stayed on course for 24 hours, got 100 miles. That's it.
You crushed it.
So it was awesome, man.
Yeah, I think mentally it helped, but I think physically, Taylor being out there for the last 3 laps.
Yeah, that was nice.
Well, but I don't think it helped because your pace went up a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Mile.
Yeah, true.
What would that be? Like
30? She came out for the last 12 miles.
Last 12 miles.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I ran
from mile
too fast.
34 or 36. No, 32. He ran like negative split almost from all day.
There was also people out there that, I mean, a lot of people sign up for the 6 hour, and obviously more people sign up for the 6 and the 12 than the 24 because they're smart. But a lot of those people that were doing the 6 and the 12, were pushing themselves really hard. Past the 6 hour, it was all pretty hardcore runners, and everyone was going fast. So it's like you just feel like,
that's
just
wild.
Run this pace with these people, or like someone's behind me. I'll just keep running faster so they don't have to pass me. It's like I'm going too fast.
Yeah, it did become a ghost town. I'd say even after 6 hours, it was like, whoa, everyone left.
It was a ghost town.
And then
kind of demoralizing.
12 hours.
Wow, where'd everyone go?
Yeah, 12 hours was like, are people still racing? And it's like
there
every
was
once in a while you
nobody
see a
out.
light come by.
Yeah.
Because that's still a long time.
I think
6
a lot
hours.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It was also a
12 hours.
fundraiser event.
Right.
People are out there for fun. They're not out there to kill themselves. So I think a lot of people got to midnight, 1 a.m. and they're like, I'm going to sleep for 4 hours and maybe do a lap in the morning.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those two people, I wish I knew their names.
Yeah, those two runners.
It was a guy and a girl.
Yeah. They did 100 miles.
They did 100 miles, which meant they stayed on the same pace that Jeff was on for the following 12 hours.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they crushed it,
That's
dude.
sad.
Actually, slightly faster because you did 44
It was faster than my pace.
and 12, and they would have done 50 and 12, and 50 the second 12.
Those were like the real deal
savage.
runners with like the thigh tattoos, and the short shorts and the scruffy
I love that
faces.
one dude. He came by on his last lap, starting his last lap, and Jeff's about to go on his last lap too. And he comes around, and I was like, hey, man, nice job, man. Like, great work. And it's like sun was coming up, right? It's starting to get light out. It's 7 a.m. or whatever. And he comes by, and he responds back to me and goes, no English. Just
incomprehensible.
Gone.
Yeah.
But still moving in the same pace he was moving.
Man.
But English, not there.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was wild to see. Like, you read or hear about ultra runners, but you never see them at, mile 96 and get to talk to them at that.
I remember when we did, when Trevor and I went out to Utah, St. George, they were doing like 100 miles of Zion or whatever, or and we saw similar thing. People just like 1,000-yard stare, just like
it's crazy.
Halfway
through this thing, and I'm like, that looks so gnarly.
You remember
like,
when we did Whole Enchilada?
Yeah, that's right.
They were finishing the
Moab
240.
Yeah, we saw a couple runners.
And it was actually, that was the first year, we didn't see him, but that was the first year Goggins did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he talked
and
about
that's like a
book.
2-day, right? Or 2 or 3 day race?
At least.
It has to be.
It depends on.
I mean, those guys did 100 miles
in 24 hours.
In 24 hours. It has to be 2 days. Would be ripping fast.
Gnarly. I bet you were so excited to see the bike and just get on it. And you're like, I'm over
It felt
this.
really good to get on the bike.
Oh my God.
But he did come back first lap bike and goes, that is hard.
Well, it was 8.5 miles per loop, and it was about 1,300 feet of elevation.
That's
8.5
decent
miles.
amount.
It was a lot.
If you have 1,000 feet per 10 miles, that's pretty standard. That's a hilly ride.
Yeah.
This was like 1,208. So it ended up being just over 16,000 feet total for the run and the ride.
Wow.
it was just, there were steep climbs in that bike route. And so like the first 2 laps felt really good. And Nikas was amped and he's like, oh, I'll ride the first couple laps. He was like, sweet, this will be fun. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to bed now because it's 1 a.m. And then it just got demoralizing because I'd go out there to do these loops that take about, hour 15 or so in the dark and just by myself. And there's like no one else out there. It's like every third lap I would see like one guy like, oh, what's up? Like off in the distance.
I think there's not probably many people 6 24-hour mountain bikers that did the full 24-hour and like
that didn't just like sleep all night and then do one in the morning.
Do you know how far they rode?
No.
Probably similar to 100. I guess that's just crazy too. It's like similar rate too between their running, right?
Yeah.
Because the run course, the laps were 4 miles, and it was actually similar because the run course was 4 miles and it was like 550 or 600 feet of elevation.
That's still a lot too.
It was a lot. Yeah, dude, it's steep out there.
Wow.
Pisgah National Forest. It was steep terrain.
I was thinking about that today I was thinking about you on that because I was like thinking about your gear ratio and like how much climbing you did because I did Dead Cow and to Suicide this morning and Dead Cow, it's almost 1,000 feet like just straight up, right? And it's like what maybe a mile and a half or 2 miles to the top.
Yeah, it's a steep
or
climb.
something like that. And I was like thinking about you during that 24-hour race.
Yeah,
with 11
on 11
gears.
speed. I know. Yeah, that why didn't we think of that? Why didn't you think of that?
I love 11 speed. It's all I need.
But
It's the same.
But not in that scenario.
I've never ran out of range.
But even all the time I talk about that, I'm talking about the rides that I do, and now it's always fine. And now I'm not doing these huge epics. And that was a big epic. It was a 55 miles in the middle of the night after running. I was like, I wish I would have had a 12 speed.
These adventure races with the same bike.
Yeah, but adventure racing I don't know. Adventure racing is usually never as steep of climbs, and if it is as steep, you just walk because you really try to avoid zone 3 in an adventure race because you're out there for multiple days and like you really don't want to burn those candles. But in this race, it was like, I'm 12 hours, the last 12 hours on the bike. I'm like, I'm going to try and climb all this stuff. And
I think a 30 tooth would have been better.
Yeah, could have.
Than a bigger range.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not positive on this. I'd have to look at a graph. But I think a 30 tooth would also increase your anti-squat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it actually pedaled a touch better.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely should have ran smaller gearing for that course because there was just such steep climbs. It wasn't super techy, but it was just really steep, just a lot of elevation. It was a really fun course, but
a couple single speeders out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That did the whole thing?
Couple, I think 1 or 2 did the whole thing. And then Gordon Wadsworth, who rides for Revel, did a 12-hour and he won a 12-hour on a single speed. Yeah.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, that course would have been super brutal on a single speed.
That's absolutely savage.
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine also throwing any sort of technical element into the climb. Like, oh my God, you'll cook yourself. Trying to get up some sort of technical.
Freeze thaw. So when he was going out in the morning, it was peanut butter.
Yeah, that was actually, the course was in way better condition all night. And as soon as the sun came up, everything started thawing out and becoming peanut butter mud. And I was just like, this is brutal. And I was pushing my bike up climbs just the last 2 hours of daylight. And I was like clawing the mud out of my tire because it wouldn't spin. I was just like, this is nuts. I didn't even think about that. It was like all that dirt was just frozen because it was, December in North Carolina.
Wow.
Certainly wasn't a warm race by any means.
It was 28 degrees that night.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, people were really struggling at night with moisture and heat management. I remember a lot of the runners too at night because you had such steep climbs and you would get all hot. And if you weren't really, really careful and if you got any sweat saturated and you didn't have the right fabrics or too much sweat, then by the time you started doing the descending into the canyons that were way colder, your sweat would just freeze you. So you really had to be smart about knowing how much you're sweating, knowing how much effort you're putting in, and what fabrics you had on, and then unzipping stuff, taking layers off, putting layers back on quickly and efficiently. That's because you can really mess stuff up if you screw that up.
Yeah, it's probably colder in some of those canyons where the water was than 28. Colder. So
yeah,
it was 28 in the car where I was hanging out all night.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was freezing my balls off.
Yeah. Shout out to Willie who was my pit crew. Did a great job. You got lucky. The bike didn't break. The bike was flawless.
I honestly didn't do that much, if I'm being honest. I was there helping him out a little bit, and but that was about it.
The pictures of your bike were pretty awesome that Liam took. Caked in mud.
I took some good photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bike ran flawless. I mean, it got caked in mud just literally the last 2 hours of the race, but the whole prior to that, it was perfect condition. So bike held up just fine. I just realized I should have more gear range if I'm going to do something like that.
Yeah.
My legs were just jello. I was just like, I can't climb anymore. I'm just bonking out. It was so steep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, what a cool race. Thank you again for everyone listening that donated. I really appreciate it. And the whole town of Old Fort appreciates it. So that fundraised, I think, almost $1 million. Maybe it went over $1 million. I haven't checked since the race. But
That's
amazing. It was at like 950,000 during the race. So
it's a good cause. Community.
Yeah, it's a really good cause. Yeah, and it's just awesome. So I was pumped. What a fun time. It just was inspiring. Like everyone was in such a good mood. And to me, that was the definition of a cool event. It's like this raises money for people who need it. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's pushing themselves. Like people from all over the world donated to every different person who was participating. And I was like, this is just a cool idea. Like everything about this is great. So that was fun. And I think that showed during the event and the people there. So aid station was incredible. Also, shout out to everyone running that aid station. Because from adventure racing, there's no aid station. It's fully self-supported, 100%. This aid station was incredible. I was like, there's 4 people there at all times. You'd walk up, they're like, do you want scratch or you want water? And then they're like, oh yeah, we're going to have bacon later. They always had chicken broth with noodles, and they had coffee. They had hot coffee. They had like all these snacks. This is incredible. Every lap.
Oh my God.
I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, this is so crazy. For whatever my adventure race brain was like, I had all my calories planned out, everything figured out. I was like, I got all this fully self-supported. And then I was like, I don't need to do anything. I got look at these people here cooking me bacon every lap.
That's amazing.
It was cool. Yeah, that was a well-done event. So
super cool.
Good times. I would maybe do it again.
You would maybe do it again?
I would do it again if there was another good reason to do it again.
Yeah, hopefully not another.
No, I had fun. I definitely enjoyed it. It was cool doing that. Yeah, it was a challenge, but it was a really fun time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for telling us the story because, like I said, you told us, but not everybody got to hear about it.
Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted people who donated to know that I went out there and gave it my all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. I was in a full-blown panic the last hour because I was like looking at my watch. The mud was getting thicker and stickier, and I'm like, I'm not going to hit the 100 miles. Which is a totally arbitrary goal. Like all the donations had already been made, everything had already been done. Like I didn't need that, but I was like,
it's
in
not
my
like you
head,
were
I was
finish.
What I said I was going to do 100. I was going to try and do 100.
Yeah, you have
and
to.
I'm like so close to it, and I was just running up the hills with mud clogging the rear tire, like looking at the watch. Like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. And I was just in a mad dash at the end to try and get that, and barely made it. So,
do you think any other tire combination would have fared any better? Like, no.
Nah.
It's just that type of mud. It's just peanut butter. Like,
you're screwed no matter what.
I didn't even know what freeze thaw was. Have you heard that term?
I mean, I've heard it. I've never experienced it.
Yeah, me neither. Everyone's like, "Oh, freeze thaw!" We're like, yeah, whatever. What is that?
I heard the mountain bikers saying that in the morning on like first and second lap of like the beginning of the event. They're like, "Oh, it's freeze thaw out there."
Yeah, when there was still
and I was
sun
just
out.
like, "All right, whatever that means." And then I went out and took photos of the run course and that downhill.
Yeah,
it was getting slippery.
People falling and stuff down there.
Slipping.
Really?
I didn't see anyone fall.
It just got super slippery because it felt like a really traction-y mud, and then all of a sudden it felt like slippery mud.
Yeah.
Just because the
really
moisture
slippery.
in the dirt was thawing out. That's freeze thaw.
Freeze thaw.
So. It makes sense.
Ice cream new every day coming from SoCal to race out North Carolina.
Literally think ice cream, take it out of the freezer. And
and
try to do something on that.
Turn that
That's freestyle
into mud. Wow.
Yeah. It's like I've ridden in the East a million times, but not in the winter. That was the big difference. Like I'd never been out there to ride in the winter where all the moisture in the dirt froze. But
jeez.
Anyways, all right. Let's take a quick, brief moment for an awesome sponsor segment. What did you do the last time? Was it good?
This is my favorite sponsor this time.
We did last time. That was the bike lock that yells at you when you're trying to steal a bike. Yeah.
And then we'll be back with our favorite things and some listener questions.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Jeff, again, you guys all got a good funny ad last podcast. So this time I'm just going to give you a real one and say thank you. 2024 was a crazy, tumultuous, and to be honest, just really bad year for the bicycle industry, and Worldwide Cyclery struggled through it and survived somehow. Thank you to all of you who supported us, and especially thank you to those who supported our other brands, Kettle Mountain Apparel and Trail One Components. Your guys' support, listenership, and purchases make us happy and survive, and we love it. I don't know what else to say. Thank you, and have a good new year.
And now, back to the show. What is your favorite? This is not listener questions yet, though. This is a topic. Jeff, what is your favorite bike product and non-bike product of the year?
Well, I'll say my favorite bike product of the year. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't really prepare for this.
That's okay. That's why we love spontaneity. Man. What is your favorite
Well, off the cuff, just because you said bike, I'm going to say that Yeti ASR. Yeah. That was the first time I rode it was in 2024 this year, and I was just, whoa, that's an awesome bike. I really like this bike.
It's a great bike.
It's a fun bike. I realized why people love that bike, why Yeti made that bike.
It came out this year.
Yeah, it came out this year.
So no one rode it in 2023.
Sweet.
Except maybe Yeti, but
so that was my first bike related thing that just popped straight into my head.
Very reasonable choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Non-bike product?
Yeah. Could be your could be a little piece of tech that you
got. My iPad Mini 7th generation with the A17 processor.
God.
Everybody was making fun of me about today.
I would be.
Dude, iPad Mini is a great device. Favorite non-bike? I don't know. I gotta think that one.
We'll circle back. We'll do all of our bike products and then all right, Liam, you
go. Mine's also the ASR. You should ask me first. No, I'm copying Jeff. Well, I've actually had it longer than Jeff, and I've had two of them. So,
yeah, your bike inspired me to do it.
Yeah.
So that is true.
Your bike was really cool.
Yeah.
Well, when you were riding that bike and training for Downeyville, and I was looking at your Garmin data, and I was like, man, he's just out there ripping these fast paces and these big rides. It's like, that bike's sick. I gotta get one of those.
So we're gonna narrow this down even more. Which ASR?
It was my second one.
Okay, your second one.
The first one was awesome.
You go through multiple ones.
Well, because you know how. Yeah, I had the first one with Fly Attendant, sold that one, built up a new one with Fox, and a little bit more simple. And I loved it. I was riding it yesterday. I was like, dude, this bike rips. Love it.
But
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I think a lot of the bike industry.
I built a new bike,
but a lot of the bike industry in many ways is sort of plateaued out in terms of tech and just capability. But that was one bike that, you know, the little refinements, it just pushed the limits of how fast and light a bike could be, but yet how capable it still could be.
Yeah, and fun.
It's like it's fast and light XC bike, but it actually can ride rough trails and train and feel good and feel proper cornering and jumping and stuff. So that was rare and unique and something that bike brought to the table this year that didn't exist before.
It did not sacrifice the fun factor, which is cool.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
XC with fun.
So that was my favorite bike product of the year, I believe. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What's yours, J-Rad?
You know, man, in light of the video that just came out today, I'm going to go with my Fox Series 6.
Grip X.
Because it suits the bike so well.
Because watch the video,
you know. But yeah, I really do love it. I feel like it's a fork that has no compromises for whatever reason. You know, I can crush a bunch of miles. I can blast down gnarly trails, and it's super fun. So, I don't know.
Very nice.
Like aside from that, I would probably go with my Yeti if I was going to pick like a bike. You know,
you had one of those in 2023.
But I had one before, just like you. Well, just like how you had an ASR and got another one, but it's different.
But it came out in
same but different.
Came out in 24. I had both of them in 24.
Yeah,
I never had one in 23. I don't make up the rules, dude. I mean, there's no rules posted, but I'm making them up currently. But I don't make them up.
Yeah, I know.
But you already have one, so it's all right.
We're a bunch of bike nerds here. It's okay.
Yeah.
We understand.
All right, non-bike product. Couldn't think of it.
You're still racking your brain?
I mean, I've got a few.
I couldn't really think of one either. It's kind of hard.
What about like your Mac Mini or something? You know?
Nah.
Doesn't really get you going?
No tech has really like genuinely inspired me this year at least.
What about like a fun like adventure racing product or piece of your kit that you just like can't live without?
That Usui pack, that is a nice pack.
Yeah.
They've made some good stuff this year. Actually, I've had 2 packs from them this year. The one I used for the adventure race was pretty clutch and amazing. Man, I don't know.
That's one of my favorite bike products. Coming out blogs, we're just a little behind the curve.
Yeah.
Come out blogs of our favorite bike products. That's one of mine.
I hate to say it, but the two products that I loved and used all year are 2 Kettle prototype pants Two different pairs. One will be, well, two will be released next year. We're calling it the Alpine Pant, which is a very outdoor specific adventure race focused pant. And it's been amazing, the prototype, and I've been wearing it for 2 years now and testing it, and it's finally coming to production in 25. And then the other one is, well, so that same fabric will be in a mountain bike specific pant as well, cut and tailored with pockets specifically to mountain biking, which people have been asking for forever.
Yes.
But then the other one was the vent pants, which are Kettle's super lightweight pants. That's very ventilated. There's a new fabric that we were testing to make sort of a run edition of that pant. So very similar looking fabric, breathable. That's what I ran the 45 miles in. Oh. It's just so lightweight that you can just run in the thing effortlessly, and it's super flexible.
But breathable still.
Way breathable. Yeah, like the air blows right through it.
Nice.
Like when in North Carolina in that cold weather, I wore what do you call those freaking things? Thermals underneath it.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's basically the new Kettle boxers, but we're making some that are ankle length too.
Ooh.
I wore those underneath those.
Dang.
So like multiple prototype Kettle products that nobody can buy until sometime in 2025, hopefully.
Well, that's cool.
Those are some like highlights that I could think I was like always wanting to grab and use those this year. In terms of cool products.
That's very cool.
It's fun getting to make your own stuff when you're a massive gear nerd. Too attentive to all details.
I bet.
So, what do you got? Some cat toy? You got a cat toy?
I was actually going to choose my Fuji XT1.
Oh.
Because I actually bought it it was like right at the beginning of the year.
More meaning than the wedding ring that you got this year.
Oh, come on, man.
It's not his favorite
Throwing
product.
me under the bus.
It's not his favorite product.
Yeah.
It just sits
All
there.
right.
Yeah.
The Fuji.
I'm talking the Fuji.
Yeah, you've been busting out some good photos this year.
Thank you.
Bussin'.
Straight bussin'.
No cap.
What does that mean?
Bussin', dude. No cap.
Appropriate? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's relatively appropriate.
It's appropriate.
It's like, oh man, that Garmin watch is bussin'.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a term I'll never use.
But yeah, no, I love how. I mean, it doesn't have like the major like huge megapixel counts that these new cameras have and stuff. It doesn't have 4K video, but takes nice photos. And I got it used for a nice little discount, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, nice.
My first nice camera that I bought myself.
Yeah, that's cool.
Otherwise, they're all just like hand-me-downs or like, using somebody else's camera.
Is that what you used to shoot the video of the Trail 1 Sage pedals recently?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see? It's funny you say it doesn't have 4K video, but the video that comes out of that and the photos that come out of that are 100x better than any cell phone could ever take.
Agreed.
Any iPhone could ever take.
Yeah.
Hot take, dude.
Hot take.
It's true.
Remember a couple of years ago?
It's true.
Oh, yeah. iPhone could hang with any camera out there, dude.
My Android phone has a potato of a camera.
No, but I agree. I mean, I
can't imagine what it's like to be a politician and have the media misinterpret all the shenanigans that anything you ever say. Like just having, a couple dozen people doing it to me is annoying enough, let alone thousands of people.
Well, it's like YouTube. I mean, you post a video and then you got a million critics right there.
Yeah, it's true.
Like when the comment on the Fox 36 video, 2025 stuff is old, 26 is just around the corner. Come on, dude.
Just around the corner in 8 months, bro.
I mean, why you gotta do me like that, man? We've been working hard on this.
Well, this is when all long-term
YouTube needs DMs.
This is when all long-term reviews are coming out.
Right. I mean,
long-term.
Yeah, it's a long-term review. It's not a product release.
What do you expect, my guy?
So, yeah.
I appreciate you watching the video. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but come on.
Yeah, what's your favorite product?
Yeah, come on, man.
What I'm picking is kind of a combination, but I'm gonna say my van. As a whole.
Okay. Yeah, your van is sweet. We drove it to Colorado.
We drove it to Colorado. I spent 42 nights in the van this summer.
Really?
This year. Yep.
How do you know that so specifically?
I added them all up.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a great
42 nights in the van. Put 20,000 miles on it.
Because you did a couple of those races where you drove it out there.
Mm-hmm.
A few.
Yeah.
Up to Downeyville, right?
Moab, Downeyville, Bakersfield, San Diego.
Build a nice van and actually use it. You're not like those people who buy a nice van and never use it.
Monterey.
Yeah, we drove it up to Santa Cruz, right?
Went to Rampage. Yeah.
Yeah, you took it all over.
Took it all over.
That's what it's all about.
I did the build out myself. So it's my 4th van that I've owned and like 5th build that I've done. Something like that.
Well, you did somebody else's?
I did one twice.
Oh.
And built
that's
it
like
and
a
redid it.
Classic van thing.
Yeah,
huh?
exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It just is pretty perfect for my usage now. It's nothing too fancy, but it's got everything I need. I got a sink that runs off a foot pump. I've got solar. I've got a fridge. I've got a place to lock bikes up inside, and I have a full size bed, like, you know, a full, like the size full mattress. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Diesel gets good mileage. And yeah, so it's pretty stoked on that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it works for bikes, but also not bikes.
Yeah.
No.
It's not bike specific.
No.
It's life specific.
Life specific.
It's for your whole life, man. You can do whatever
That'd be
you
good
want,
at.
man.
It's not bike specific. It's life specific.
Thanks. I just came up with that straight up.
Straight up.
No AI involved.
Well.
All right, man. Listener questions.
All right. I'll jump into this first one. I'd love to hear you all completely nerd out on different kinds of lube, sort of like you do for tires for hours on end. I know in past episodes you mentioned that you're a fan of squirt lube for dry climates. I also live in a super dry area, Durango, Colorado, and I think that I need one of the driest lubes available. After most in-town rides, my legs are usually caked in dust from all the powdery soil. I've used Rock and Roll Gold Lube for SRAM drivetrains for years, and I think it's only just okay and barely lasts 3.5 hours. But my wife's Shimano-equipped bike needs something way lighter, otherwise the lube doesn't penetrate the rollers. But unfortunately, it quickly becomes a gunked-up, nasty mess. Anyway, I'm thinking about trying Squirt based on your recommendations, but my local bike shop said to try Dumont Tech Oil Pro X. Anyway, I think this is a good topic, but really, I just want to hear you guys debate and argue with one another. Fair enough.
Well, the argument is not going to be much because we all use Squirt.
Well, let me tell you, Liam. I haven't really used Squirt at all since I started waxing the chain.
Oh.
Because I just...
Oh, big chain waxer guy now,
I just swap it for the freshie.
Chain waxing's like being a vegan, you know? Once you do it, you just got to tell everyone about it.
Oh my God. You know what?
True.
You know, you're hardcore on it and everyone should try it.
Yeah.
And,
you just reminded me that that's actually what I was going to say for my bike product.
Oh.
Was waxing chains.
Dude, you forgot about it. What kind of chain waxer are you?
I know. I should have told everybody. But honestly, my drivetrain has been so clean. Like, I will tell everybody about it right now. And I haven't had to clean it at all. Like, I do it as a formality, right? Like, I take, but like the drivetrain, however many months we've been doing this, has been spotless. Yeah. The bike shifts great. Like,
I still top mine off with Squirt for the mountain bike and the Silka branded stuff for the road bike.
Yeah.
When I do wax it. But yeah, I mean, Demontech, I think is better than Rock and Roll Gold. I remember Rock and Roll Gold being extremely light. Mm-hmm. Like he said he needs something way lighter. I think Rock and Roll Gold's the lightest of the Rock and Roll.
That Finish Line dry lube is super light too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just, it doesn't last for anything in the dry climates. Like, it's a combination
that's
of super
fine for
dry.
A lot of people. Some people only ride 10, 15 miles at a time.
Yeah, but like
that's common.
But at the same time, like if you're only riding 10 or 15 miles at a time, you could do Squirt and only put it on every 3 to 4 rides.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like as long as you're putting on the night before,
struggles with Shimano chains. Have you ever used it on Shimano chains?
What's Shimano?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it works great for all the chains. Like, it's a wax, so you know it's going to penetrate. It's going to dry. The main thing is though, you got to put it on and you got to let it dry.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like all lubes.
Annoyance.
A lot of people don't really do that with oil lubes, but oil's always going to attract dirt.
Yeah.
Like that's the nature of oil, and you have to let it dry for it to work properly.
Yeah.
But no one really lets it dry. That's the one thing about Squirt. It doesn't work really at all if you put it on and ride.
Mm-hmm.
Put on when you finish your ride, 3 little wipes of your chain. I mean, you got to start with a really good degreased chain. Put on a couple coats, but after that, it's like a couple little back pedals. Take the initial dirt off. Put on a good coat. Once you're finished with your ride, go off, do your thing. Next time you come on your bike, it's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't really found anything that's as cheap as Squirt, works as good as Squirt, and lasts as long as Squirt.
What about the muck-off dry lube?
I was literally just thinking about the muck-off dry lube.
But it's oil.
I don't think it doesn't work as good.
I think it's
agree
wax.
With that, but you don't have to...
I thought it was wax.
You don't have to let it dry overnight.
I think it's oil based.
I think it was the top-selling chain lube, though.
It is. Yeah. It's pretty solid, but it does gunk up. Like, I mean...
I'm just going to say everything I've used other than that gunks up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ceramic speed stuff's really nice and baller, but like it's baller, it's expensive. It's like more than Squirt, and I don't think it lasts as long.
Yeah.
I'll use it on a race day. when I'm racing Downeyville, but like that's a race day lube. The Silka stuff works pretty well, but I think it's a little bit more of like a road application. Doesn't seem as like durable in as well. So
yeah,
for me, the Squirt hits all the, what is it? You can't have something that's cheap, durable, and light or something like that. Like, this one's, cheap, durable, and
greasy,
non-greasy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the old famous, well, I guess it's been credited to him. I don't know if he really said it, Keith Bontrager. It was cheap, durable, and light. Pick two.
Yeah.
Which is, when you think about it in the bike world, it's
very true.
It's so true.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's, I love the chain wax. I don't know.
Yeah, Squirt's,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Squirt's my choice.
But
I've also
it's
been
not that bad. It's really not. God, Liam, back me up. It's not that bad.
It's not horrible, no. And if you have like one bike and one chain, okay, it's a process. But when we do it, I'll just line up 4 of our bikes, and we just turn on the machine. We're working, we just drop it in there, agitate it, go back to work, pull them out, throw in the next one, agitate it, like it. When you line them up, like bring all your friends over, have a degrease party and a chain waxing party, drink a couple beers.
Yeah, there you go. Now we're talking about a good time.
Yeah, do that every few weeks.
Well, here's what I do is I have 2 chains that are the same length.
2 chains.
Two chains, but I wax them both. So I just swap them out when one gets, run out. And then I only have to do them every other time, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having to, I got to do my chain again. Like I just throw the new one on, and so I probably do it every other month, maybe.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean,
I wax your
right?
chains.
I don't know, man. I don't have much of a dog in this fight because I don't really work on my bike so much anymore.
I wax Jeff's chains.
I don't know why I'm looking at you.
I wax Jeff's chains every time I turn on that machine. So.
I used to be way more nerded out into this until I had a pile of other bigger problems, and then also people who could help me work on my own bike. So
it's fair enough.
Things have changed.
That's fair enough.
Things have changed for me in terms of the lubrication department.
We've talked about lube a long time.
Yep.
I've also been using Squirt's chamois cream. Chamois.
That's an interesting crossover. I was not expecting.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't want to squirt
really crazy synthetic ingredients for your bike, and here's some other ingredients that hopefully won't harm your skin.
No, I think it's good.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, they're good product developers. I'm sure it's good, but
it's like if chamois butter came out with like a unsalted butter for like, food, and I'm like, oh no, chamois butter on my toast. No, wrong one. Next question.
Yep.
All right. On the last podcast, you guys talked about reach and sizing. My question is, if I have a 470 reach on my full suspension, would that be the same for a hardtail?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it would, but it would be totally different on a gravel bike.
Yeah.
Right.
Gravel and road is just like a whole new ballgame of weirdness
honestly,
and strange
I don't
numbers.
even...
So full suspension or hardtail, if you're just talking about mountain bikes, it would be the same. But
with a similar cockpit setup, like it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
But you go to road with narrower bars, longer stem, and I don't even know the numbers I ride on the road bike. I ride a 54.
Or like if you
they're
have
all weird.
Like a cutthroat, right?
Yeah,
like where do you even go there?
That's the thing about the cutthroat though. That's so unique.
It's mountain bike sizing.
The cutthroat is mountain bike sizing. So the reach numbers basically make sense, just like they would on a hardtail. But then you look at any other gravel bike or any other bike at all with drop bars, and it's completely different than the way they measure mountain bikes and the way they work.
Weird.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why the cutthroat's so cool, because you can put flat bars on it and it basically just works like a rigid mountain bike.
Kind of want one, honestly.
Yeah, it is a very unique, and that's why they call it a drop bar mountain bike. It's a very unique bike in general. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, which is cool. I liked that bike.
Too bad you cracked it.
I kind of missed that bike.
Yeah.
Wow. Well. Preface.
You didn't. Yeah.
It was leaning with the pedal on a rock. Yeah, I know, but people don't. Not everyone listening knows. The bike did not crack.
They're going to soundbite that and be like, Salsa's
cracked. They're going to soundbite that. Yeah, seriously.
They don't. Jeff dropped it on a rock.
Yeah. No, the wind blew it over.
Whatever.
I was at the beach and I did that little thing where I put one pedal on a rock and it like stands by itself. And I was literally changing into my board shorts and the wind blew it over and the top tube landed on a rock and cracked it. Yeah. And then I proceeded to ride it for like 200 more miles.
Way more.
Probably more.
You rode it for another year.
I know.
You put like another 1,000 miles on it.
It was just on the top tube. Who cares if the top tube's cracked?
Don't ride your bike if it's cracked.
And then I sold it and said, I'm selling a bunch of parts that might include a frame in the box.
Attaching, yeah.
Yes.
Just,
And someone bought it, and I don't know if they're riding it, but I told them not to.
Yeah.
But
it would have been an easy repair, right? I mean...
It would have been an easy carbon repair, but it just didn't even seem necessary because of where it was.
Yeah. Well,
it was a cool bike.
Next question?
Yeah, I'll ask it because I don't have an answer.
Cool.
Who is the best James Bond? Favorite Bond villain?
So I think the best James Bond was... Oh, this is actually kind of tough because Pierce Brosnan was pretty good.
Speed it up, bud.
Okay. The Pierce Brosnan with the BMW Z... Oh my God. 8? No, I don't even know. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I
don't.
I watched some of the James Bonds as a kid, and all I can remember about James Bond are two things. One, the smoking hot women.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why I watched those videos as a teenage boy. And playing James Bond on N64.
I was going to say
GoldenEye.
Yeah, GoldenEye.
Playing GoldenEye on...
It was N64 or was it PS2?
Yeah,
N64.
I think I had PS2.
Yeah.
I think playing GoldenEye on PS2 is like the most of what I remember from any Bond movie, so...
Yeah. Favorite level?
I don't have a dog in this fight.
The level?
No,
the ship?
I feel like there's
a
casino.
I don't know. Maybe.
There's some casinos.
Can't remember, man.
Also, when I think of Bond villains, I think of this guy, the huge guy with the crazy teeth. Jaws is his name, but he's from the 70s. Most people probably don't know. The Spy Who Loved Me. Anyways, who's your favorite Bond villain? Do you know? You don't really know.
No, I don't know.
Okay, well, I guess
that's what I said. The only thing I remember is playing on N64 and the women in the movies. That's all I got.
I left it in there because I actually assumed you guys would have great answers, and I was like, I have no answer, but
yeah, well, this guy has the crazy
2 out of 3 maybe.
So, anyways,
right.
What's up?
What's up?
I'm fortunate enough to have 2 wheel sets for my bike. However, I'm not baller enough to have 2 bikes. The main set is
it's getting there though.
Yeah, right. That's a good start. The main set is a fancy carbon with glorious silent hubs for everyday riding and has faster rolling tires. My secondary set is aluminum, obnoxiously loud hubs, double down tires, and is used mainly for the bike park days. My question is, should each wheel set have its own rotor, cassette, brake pads, etc., or should I be swapping those back and forth? I'm lazy and want minimal time working on the bike, but I do want max shifting and braking capability. So, I mean, I think we can all agree that he should have at least his own rotors and cassettes, assuming that everything matches and it's the same. And then the brake pads can just be the same. Don't have to swap those out.
Yeah, like if you can. I would say rotors, they're cheaper usually than cassettes. Rotors are nice because like swapping 6-bolt rotors takes some time.
Yeah.
Cassettes are pretty expensive. If you're looking at that and he's talking about not being baller enough to have 2 bikes, well, cassettes are like $500 or something like that.
Yeah. But you could put like a GX cassette on your bike park one.
That's true. But they are easier to swap to. Basically one bolt. You have 1 bolt and you swap it. I would try to do 2 sets of rotors, 1 for each wheel, break them in pretty similarly to the brake pads, and it's usually pretty good. I mean, all right, we're talking maybe 95% braking perfection versus like 100.
I mean, if you really want to be hardcore,
yeah,
OCD,
exactly.
Use different brake pads.
But that's he's talking about also minimizing bike work time.
As long as they're the same rotors,
and if you could do 2 cassettes, like Jared said, get a GX for the bike park days. It's not going to be not going to feel any different.
Yeah, who cares, right?
I've done it to where I just have to swap cassettes, but I have 2 rotors.
Yeah. And if you have center lock, it's not a big deal.
That's actually how my new one is. I have 1 cassette, 2 rotors.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is kind of fancy is if you had like the same hub and you could just pop the whole free hub off and everything.
I didn't do that.
Like a ratchet or
my last
whatever.
Road gravel bike, I had the same exact hubs with same exact rotor. So I could just pop them in and out because adjusting flat mounts, like bike industry,
it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I hate flat mount bike industry.
It is the worst.
You guys screwed up.
Well, just hope that doesn't end up on mountain bikes.
It's never going to.
It's only stuck on road and gravel.
Like one mountain bike put it on there, and like everyone flipped out. 1 XC bike,
yeah,
and everyone flipped their lid.
Why?
Because it's lighter.
Stupid.
It's lighter.
Stupid.
I'm interested.
Jeff's in.
Smaller.
It's
lighter. No! It's heavier.
You're going to have to pay me more if I have to adjust more of those things, dude. On your bikes, especially.
Love it.
Jeff gets a bike with flat mount. Dude, here's my increase.
Yeah.
I think it was that open up gravel bike that I had ages ago.
You had
I had the
open?
Pennsylvania store,
Yeah,
and I built it myself, and I remember messing with those flat mounts and thinking, God, this is awful.
And the open ones aren't even that bad, at least on the floor.
They are better, yeah.
It's not that
Better
bad.
than some, yeah.
But like, oh my God. Trying to adjust like the rear is the gives
that's
me
what I
nightmares.
remember.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get back to something a little more refreshing like rear shocks. How about that? I'm looking to upgrade the rear shock on my 2023 Specialized Turbo Levo SL Gen 2. I focus on black diamond riding with medium to large jumps and drops. I'm looking to increase progressivity and poppy performance like my Yeti SV165 with Fox DHX2. More specific, do I need the Cascade link for this upgrade, or will a progressive coil alone be adequate? What do you recommend? Öhlins versus Push versus DHX versus Storia versus question mark? FYI, the bike already has a Fox 38 fork if that impacts recommendations. Oof. That's a good question.
It kind of sounds like he's just already saying he has a coil on the rear. He doesn't really say that.
I don't think he has one, but he wants a coil.
I would not go with a coil.
Right. If he is looking to increase progressivity and
yes. Like the e-bikes are going to be so stuck to the ground, you don't need the coil to be stuck to the ground.
Honestly, I'm super impressed. If you're talking air shocks, I'm super impressed with Floatex.
I was going to say Floatex is the easiest to set up. You can make it progressive. It lasts longer. X2s are great, but they're harder to set up, and they typically don't last as long.
And Floatex is like, it's plush too.
It's great.
It works really well for that.
And the Cascade will kind of help you add more progression, but it might not make it poppy. Like if you did a Cascade with a coil, you're actually going to probably make it less poppy because you're going to have a higher leverage ratio.
Change it a ton.
Yeah, you're going to higher leverage ratio, way soft off the top. And then a lot of ramp at the bottom, but like the coil mixed with a higher leverage ratio is going to be so soft off the top. Like doing the combo will like almost make it less poppy, you know?
Yeah.
You'll get progressivity at the end of the travel, but not in the beginning, like kind of maybe where you want it. Yetis just tend to be a little bit more firm off the top than a lot of bikes. So
he probably already has a Floatex on there.
Yeah, he might. Yeah.
Honestly, right?
And just add a volume spacer in there.
Yeah.
Mess with that. But.
Sounds like a question from a gentleman who's going to try some different shocks anyway because he thinks it's fun.
Yeah. In that case, we sell EXT. Go with the EXT because it's the most expensive.
Yeah. Or the Push.
Get the most expensive one.
Or the Push.
EXT.
EXT.
Honestly, changing rear shocks is fun.
Actually, I do
even if it makes the bike not what you wanted, it's still so different. It feels like a new bike when you change the suspension. It's
for sure.
Just fun to do.
Really enjoyed my time on the Push SV8 this year.
Yeah. That thing is cool.
I put out a full review too. I don't even know if we ever talked about that. Maybe a month or two ago.
Yeah.
That shock's really good. It's technically the cheaper sibling of the Push shocks, but it's more generic. It has a hydraulic bottom out built into it. It doesn't have a climb switch.
Just one circuit, right?
Just one
Instead
circuit.
Of two circuits like on the 11.6. Yeah.
I love that shock. I had it on my Revel Rail 29. And I kept it, and I'm going to put it on my frameworks as well. So I have that mixed with
high praise.
Dang.
Yeah, I have that and a Floatex on the frameworks. So yeah, I'm going to have a Floatex on my frameworks and that Push shock.
Yeah. That's what I would do, man.
That's what I would do, man.
That's what I would do, man. I don't know about you.
Hey, don't look at me like that, man.
Oh.
We should maybe tell people what frameworks is, because probably some people hear that and know and other people don't.
Oh, yeah. Frameworks is Nico Mulali's bike company that he started creating his own race bikes out of a want to create his own bikes because, kind of nothing in the market really satisfied like his needs for geometry, kinematics, simplicity, straightforward race bike. And he's not tied to any suspension designs and patents and all these things that a company might own. So he set out with blank slate, going to make the best bike possible. He started the downhill bike. Now he's making an enduro bike, and I'm getting the enduro bike version that should be delivered in roughly 1 month.
Whoa. Nice.
Yeah.
Google frameworks.
Frameworks,
bikes.
Frameworks racing, and make sure it's the mountain
it's
bike.
Not really my style.
Not style.
Bike.
Yeah. A little too burly.
Too hardcore for me.
If
we went on Whistler trip every year or something.
If I'm being honest, it's a little too burly for most of my riding. I'm already thinking of 2-wheel sets, going to have a lighter weight set. I'll probably ride around here most of the time, and then the park wheel set to go Whistler and trips and stuff. But it's also just sick. I want a bike that Nico designed. And
that part is really cool.
I know.
Being a friend of the shops and all of ours, and
it's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Looking forward to seeing a swing leg over that. Maybe I will.
Yeah, I'm curious to see it in person.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
I'm stoked for it. I'll have it hopefully in a month, and basically have all the parts sitting here.
Oh,
yeah.
How are you sleeping at night?
Just wait.
I just keep building bikes in the meantime.
Just waiting.
I mean, that'll.
It got pushed out a month. I guess I'll order a bike today.
Got to do something.
The problems we have.
That's right.
Well, that's it. That's all. Last podcast of 2024 that might be released in 2025.
Probably. Oh yeah.
Likely.
Hopefully 2025.
Yeah.
Last podcast of 24, and you're listening to it in 25. So
I was riding with a friend. I guess she listens to the podcast all the time. Another female listener.
Oh,
what do you know? I think we're up to like 5 total.
That's awesome.
Yes, remember some female? We told you a story.
Oh, at the
Tacoma, 2 bikes
North
on
Carolina,
the back.
Right?
Stopped by Liam. It was at the end of the race?
I forgot all about
So
this.
there's
stopped
6.
by and was all, "Hey, we love your podcast." And Liam just was like,
and she
we didn't even know what to say.
And she drove away, and we were like, should have got her name.
Wow. We didn't even know what to say.
It's one of the
Shout
5
out,
female
bros.
listeners. Yeah, shout out to whoever that was in North Carolina. Shoot us an email. So we like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll
we were
send
like, that was cool.
We'll send that person.
You have no excuse. I would just finish a 24-hour race. You should have at least been like, thanks.
Dude, my watch said I slept an hour and 15 minutes. I have a little bit of an
Pick through was in zombie too.
Send Jared an email if
That's
that
amazing.
was you.
That's awesome. Yeah, podcasterworldwidesoccer.com.
And we'll get you a gift card of
$15.
$15. Yeah.
I think we should do a shout out section at the end of the show. Like, you know, people come up to you, say what's up, right?
To like Stefan Marcus Coffee Roasters. Coffee we drink, awesome customer in front of ours. To Enduro Pete, who kindly gifted us this whiskey that we're drinking tonight.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie I met at North Park Beer Company. I think his name was Jason. He gave me a 4-pack. He was like, "Dude, tell Liam and Jeff I said what's up." Like, and I was like, "No way."
Hey, we didn't get any of that beer, dude.
Oh, too bad. You guys didn't like it anyways.
No, I never finished what I was saying. We're like driving on now. She was like, "Hey, you said something in the last podcast, like hopefully Jeff still lets you do these." And I was like, "I did?" And like, she's like, "Yeah, are you guys still doing it?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're recording one tomorrow." She's like, "Oh, okay, good. I love them. I listen to them all the time." And I was like, I don't remember what we even said, why we said that, and why we might not have them.
Probably some of your dry sarcasm went over.
Yeah, I think it's dry sarcasm. Like we messed up a line or something like that. We're like, I'm amazed Jeff still lets us do this.
Awesome. Well,
yeah, that's it.
Thank you for everything. If you're still watching, we genuinely appreciate it. And we will talk to you guys more in 2025. More MTB podcasts coming as usual.
That's right. Hope you had a happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Love you.
Ciao.